Hey Richmond, how are you, my man? Yeah, we're talking about the Dolphins. What a season, eh? Good. I mean, I have a great feeling now. I have a great feeling like every year. Richmond Webb!
Oh boy, did you take your medicine or have you been in those gummies again?
And yes, hello everybody. Welcome to the Fields Up Friday. And today I'm always with my wingman, Richmond Webb. How are you, Richmond?
I'm good. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing, well because we're talking together, but to be honest, what a season so far. What a season so far. I mean, what happened last weekend, it's dramatic. We lost against the Browns. I mean, without any lack of respect, it was not one of the best team of the league, and the beat is hard. And the attitude of this game, not saying anything good. What's your reflection on that?
I have to agree with you. I think the tough part is we're not even halfway through the season. So, I think everybody's looking for a bright spot. I don't think any of the fans are looking to go to the playoffs or anything like that. But we just want to try to dig out of this hole and salvage the season in one way or another. And it's real tough being a Dolphin fan right now. I was on Twitter Sunday and I feel the pain. I think the fans, former players, anybody that's associated, even the current players, coaches, it's just bad all the way around. And I think what makes it this way is that the expectation was never, nobody saw this coming. Whether no matter which one you choose, nobody saw it coming. And now we're trying to figure out how can we get out of this. And I think that's the tough part.
Yeah. And I'm just receiving a breaking news now. Dan Marino, not
The
me,
or Dan.
Dan Marino, a statement from the Dan Marino, Terrell Armstead, and any player, former player of the Miami Dolphins. With the intro I just did, they will never come, in the show. I'm sorry, Richmond, I ruined anything, everything. It's over, man. It's
It's
over.
over. All right.
And we have to go before talking about the Falcons games. I mean, it will be quick. No worries, guys. That a show that will maybe spend 10 minutes talking about the Dolphins and 20 about the fan who will show up. In mind,
Well, I guess the good thing is that you only do this to me. You don't do it to other former players, which I am so appreciative of. So we still might have a slight, minute chance that they might actually do the show. And I think it's, most people know that it's in fun. If people don't know, Dan loves the Dolphins just as much as anybody else. He's a true fan, and we just trying to make light of the situation. Just no need of piling on. Everybody knows what it is, and sometimes if we can just brighten up your day, or sometimes if you kind of laugh and shrug it off, it helps you get to the next day. So that's it. So I think everybody knows that you are a true diehard Dolphin fan, and you find, you're a jokester now. I mean, that's nonstop with you. You do it to me all the time. But normally when somebody else is on the show, you're really, really, really professional, respectful. So no, they know that. So yeah, y'all don't pay him no mind. He's just clowning a little bit today.
can you imagine if the teams start winning, how much I can go crazy? Maybe we will do show by dancing or on the swimming pool. I don't know. that's that's the version when we are losing we sing now. But when they will win, you're not prepared, man. You still can resign your contract, bro.
And I don't think anybody have an issue with you. If you want to jump by the swimming pool and act crazy, as long as the Dolphins are winning, just about anything is acceptable. Almost. Not every, I'll screen for the audience. I'll screen it, but for the most part, anything will almost be a-okay if we're winning.
And before we start talking about the Falcons, let's have your weekly French lesson. So last week you learn baguette. So now you have bonjour, merci, oui, just oui, and baguette.
Yeah.
So can we have some?
Bonjour is the newest because we started out with oui.
No, we start with we. Man, don't.
I like oui.
I
Can
mean,
you have two we's?
I mean, we go. Okay, so you start we when the Dolphins will start winning. Okay,
All right, we got
you
baguette,
are
merci,
right.
and bonjour. Okay.
So now we will have. This one is tricky. Let's see if you can do
No,
it,
don't give me no
please.
tricky. Give me an easy one. Don't give me
No,
no tricky.
please. I mean, please. It's man. It's s'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît. And what is that in
Boom.
English?
Please.
Oh, please, s'il vous plaît. Okay.
You can see how much we're more complicated in French. For just a short word, please, we bring three.
S'il vous
S'il vous
plaît.
plaît.
Yeah, I need that one
Okay.
because I can say, Dan, s'il vous plaît. S'il vous plaît,
Yeah.
Dan.
Eh,
Yeah.
bonjour, s'il vous plaît. Merci. Oui. Bim.
Baguette.
Non. Bonjour. Baguette.
Yeah.
Merci.
Yeah.
Boop. It's good. Okay. I think we lost everybody now.
Oh, yeah. They gonna
So
think
let's
I'm
talk
over here
about
chewing gummies with you by the time this show over with. So yeah, you good, brother.
let's talk about the Falcons now. So on the road again.
Yeah.
I mean, what could be the best question I can ask you, Rich? I mean,
Uh,
really, I don't know now.
I don't even know. I know I've watched the Falcons. They got a really good running back. I think it's Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
He's having a really good year. Michael Penix, I think it's Michael Penix, the quarterback. He's playing good, and they got a really good defense. They really get after it. So the sad part is we got to go to them rather than them come to us. You got to deal with the crowd noise. So nothing positive. And I think they might have 2, maybe 3 losses. They've been pretty competitive. A couple
Man,
of times
3-3.
I've watched, huh?
They are 3-3.
3-3, yeah. So they've been pretty competitive, and most of the time they're in the game even if they lose it. And so we got to be ready to play. That's what I can say. But it's gonna
Let's
be rough.
play.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to talk about Tua a little bit. I mean,
S'il vous plaît.
s'il vous plaît, we have to talk about Tua. I mean, he's true. I mean, it's the leader of the team as a quarterback, and the recent performance are not very aligned of a franchise quarterback, which was 2 years ago one of maybe top 10 quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, people will disagree, but go back to 2023, he ran one of the best. It was the best offense of the league. So how can we downgrade like this? I mean, today it's we are thinking about how much interception he will do per game.
Yeah, I think the tough thing for Tua is, the quarterback gets praised when you win, but when they lose, everybody dumps on the quarterback and they make it seem that everything's his fault, and that's not the case. But he hasn't played the last couple of weeks up to the level that we know he has. He's capable of playing. So I think that's a tough thing. And then having to deal with the media, answer those tough questions. So not only the fans, but I'm sure he's in his mind figuring, how can I work my way out of this situation? Because as a player, you got to continue to tell yourself, I know I'm better than this. I'm just not showing it right now. And I think the thing with Tua is the reason they pile on is because he signed a large contract last year. So people always focus on the contract, the money, and this and that. But I think he's a player that truly does care about how he plays and performs, regardless of the money. So he doesn't seem like a guy that just takes the money and just say, hey, I'm good now. I don't care what happens, this and that. I don't get that from him. But he is in a situation where he's not playing his best football, and I think he's just got to work his way out of it. And he's got to, if you got to disconnect from, he's required to do certain interviews and stuff with the media and stuff, but everything would be to a minimum. I would get off social media, all that, and I'm not sure if he's on or not. But just focus on what it is, go home with my family, and really lean on my support system to try to get through this. And um, to his credit, he's played. There's a couple of games we lost that he's played well enough, but the defense let it go, and that was the Chargers game. We could have won that one if they would have, stopped them, and even the Panthers game. So rather than being 1-6, if we're like 3-4 or whatever, it's not good, but it's not as bad as it is now. And I think that's the thing. So um, that's what I'll say about Tua. Definitely want him to work it out. But you got to kind of forget about everything so far and just focus on the Falcons and just say, I'm going to play my best game, focus on the Falcons and go out there and compete and let the chips fall where they may.
Let's see, but we never know how much the only meaty player statement he did on the press conference affect maybe teammates. But where there were also bad news. We lost Tyreek Hill. Now Darren Waller will probably miss a few weeks. He's not end for the season, but he will have some times to go back from his injury. So we don't know when he will come back. That's really bad because it was a real OG in this offense. And talk about the offensive line and that mentality to the speed project that Mike McDaniel brought. It is not the end of that project. I mean, do we not need more physicality in the offense? Be a more physical team, especially in those moments when the plays, the creativity that we were talking about in 2023 is not there anymore. And this is a physical game, I mean, at the end. And I think this is where maybe we're failing a little bit recently.
Yeah. From what I've been seeing, we've been stretching the field more out, plays outside the tackle, the offensive line box, rather than running more in between the tackles. I think if we could, like you say, establish the run where we can, hit it up in there and bounce it outside from time to time, I think that would help. But it seemed like we'll do a few good plays and then we'll do things to kind of put ourselves in bad position, whether it's penalties or, mental errors and this and that, or we'll have receivers open and then, somebody comes free in the offensive line and forces Tua sometime to throw the ball quicker than what he wants. So it's not one guy. It's just been a collection of, it might not be this guy on this play, it's somebody else, but on this play, he does good. Somebody else doesn't. And so they're not hitting on all cylinders. And I think that's the thing. I think we all know what they're capable of, but if everybody can put it together at the same time and be more consistent, I think we'll have much better results. And I think that's been a huge problem for us as well.
Yeah. To be fair, it's not. I mean, for me, I will say it takes a little more time to adjust the situation. You can win in every weekend. Of course, every team can beat any team any weekend. But what we saw in Cleveland, I think you don't fix that in a weekly basis. I mean, I have the feeling that it's a team that will survive, try to survive the best that they can, but the season is complicated and we don't know. I don't make any judgment, statement, whatever, but it sounds complicated because you have struggle on the defensive side of the ball, and now we see the struggle on offense. I mean, it's like the offense is never taking the rhythm of the game. They're not regular. You have one great drive, and the other one it's kind of complicated. Or we have a good first half, second half it become dramatic, and the defense tries to be there, but it's good one game, the other game it's complicated. I mean, without any lack of respect of Brown's offense, it was not the best offense of the league in front. So they just been there. They make pick six. So they were everywhere, and it was a team that was just one win, if I'm correct. So it was kind of saying us where we are, and where we are now, it's below the Browns, and
Yeah.
that's hurts a lot. That's
And,
hurts a lot saying that.
and like you mentioned earlier, losing Waller, we already lost Tyreek. Um, Two people that were highly productive in this offense, and now you take those people away. So hopefully, some of the other guys that's filling in for those guys can step up and attribute, even if not at the same level, but have some level of consistency to kind of spark the offense and get everything going. But uh, yeah, it's like you said, 1-6 with the injuries. You can go down the list, and hopefully the defense can come in and play a little bit more consistent because Atlanta has some weapons as well. So it's not going to be easy, but if it was easy, anybody could do it. So I'm just going to continue to root for them and hope they show up and continue to fight and give it your best effort, and hopefully we can get this thing turned around to start winning some football games. I don't think we're going to the playoffs. I don't think nobody's focused on that, but just to you're playing for pride now, and I think that's what they should focus on.
I will not ask you if you were my dad and what you will say just before the
Uh,
game, because I think
uh,
I
yeah,
think it's too awful. It's too awful to do that.
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's tough for him because you go through practice, you prepare, everything kind of looks good, and then you get in the game, and then everything kind of just, falls apart or whatever. And I know it's frustrating for him as a coach, or the coaches as well. It's not nobody just saying, hey, it's not my fault, this and that. It's anytime you're losing this and that, coaches are just as competitive as players are, this and that, and they want to win as well. And so that's why I say, it's a pride thing. I think everybody's working hard. It's just we've got to stop doing things to kind of beat ourselves and be more consistent and not be it this guy one play, this guy another play, this and that. Because offensively, everybody kind of needs to be on the same page. Sometimes on defense, one guy can mess up or a couple guys and they can still make the play, where typically on offense it doesn't typically work that way.
Yeah. So it's kind of a funeral mood. We try to be
Uh,
okay, man. The good thing, the way we set up the show,
uh,
it's we are not just only on the Dolphins if they're winning, if they're losing, which we also connected with the community everywhere in the world. So now it's the web speak, and you know. I feel bad last time. I mean, 2 weeks ago when OJ was there, I bring a huge fan of OJ in France. But I find if I connect with someone who is a huge fan of you, and because of Dirk, my man from Germany, we will find that person. So today it will be kind of, a great moment for you, which for all you did and you doing for the community. Be there every week talking with us, even if it's hard to talk of the Dolphins. So do you want to see the fan for this week or not? Are we making in or not?
oh yeah, I always look forward to. I think that's the highlight sometime of the show. You actually either get to meet somebody new or you kind of get their backstory, learn about them, learn how they became a Dolphin fan. And um, to me, especially, for somebody started either at a young age or just discovered, especially for and other people that's say international fans, where I know um, football or soccer is the main dominant sport to pick up American football and actually choose a team. And if you recently choose the Dolphins, we hadn't been like just killing it. So for you to choose the Dolphins as a team, I think is pretty impressive. Or sometimes I'm in awe because I'm like, hey, I appreciate that because there's so many other teams that you could just say, well, I'm a root for this team, but for them to choose the Dolphins and they're not at the top of the league right now, that's pretty impressive to me.
Okay, so here we go. Marcus from Germany is there today. How are you, Marcus? How are you, man?
Hi, hello. I'm fine so far, and I've never been introduced as the highlight.
You the highlight, Marcus. Yeah, I see your helmets and your banner back there. Yeah, you rep and got your Miami shirt on too.
Yes, despite the fact that we are currently moving 300 miles, so I put out first my dolphin stuff, to feel a little bit more at home, even in this very new situation. But yeah, but
And
honestly, I'm
where you moving
starstruck.
to? Where
I'm
you,
moving from the mid of Germany, 300 miles towards the southwestern part. So I'm
okay.
now closer to Dirk. So we
Oh, good,
can,
good,
yeah,
good. Dirk,
so,
my man. Yeah, Dirk's a good
yes,
guy. So that's
exactly. Dirk,
you'll have somebody to hang out with.
our garden dwarf with a long beard. But this guy is really phenomenal. So, but honestly, Richmond, I'm a little bit starstruck. I
You
can
never met
talk.
Dan. You never met Dan before.
We've met, yes, and we've texted
Oh,
a lot.
that's who the superstar is
but
right there.
but
Dan the man.
yeah, yeah. There is another Dander man that maybe would also struck me down. But you've protected this guy against some real monsters. So when I think of Richmond Webb, then I think about this very young guy fighting against guys like Bruce Smith or so, and doing so well. So this is what I have memories about you, and this is really I'm so honored to be here. Yeah.
So how long have you been a Dolphin fan?
I started watching and became a fan in '85, back in '85, when I
Oh,
was 16 or so. So this
yeah,
is my 40th anniversary, if you want to call it like this,
that's
anniversary as a
nice.
fan. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, yeah.
And,
Okay.
and
Did you
it
do you remember the Bears game from that '85 season?
absolutely, absolutely. So the undefeated Bears, yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
and one of my early memories was the '86 battle against the Jets that we lost in overtime, where Marino and Ken O'Brien dueled with 4 or 5 touchdowns, and then still we lost it in overtime. But yeah, a lot of old memories.
Man,
Yeah,
you've been around. This ain't your first rodeo, so man, okay. You
yeah.
you've seen some stuff.
Uh, Maybe not as much as I would like to have seen, simply because it was much harder to get to the broadcasting. So I was raised in Frankfurt, Germany, where
Hmm.
we did have a huge U.S. community, Army, Air Force, and all these guys. So everybody knew some guys. And Sunday evening, we were watching the games, the doubleheaders on AFN, American Forces Network, and but it was not always the Dolphins.
Hey, Marcus. Let me ask you this: how far are you from Berlin? Because we played a game in Berlin when I was with the Dolphins. Is that close
Currently,
to you?
500 miles plus.
Ooh, Lord,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
That's down the road a little bit. Okay.
that's a long trip. Yeah. Sorry, in
Ooh,
Berlin, '92. I was there. I was
yeah,
there.
yeah.
I
Oh,
was
you
in the
was at that
States.
game?
I looked the game, absolutely. So, and I remember it did not start well. I guess we had 3 interceptions in the first 3 or 4 drives.
I don't remember that. I don't want to remember
But
that, but I'll take your
but
word for it.
it didn't matter. It was my heroes on the field, and so
I,
it was fantastic experience. Yeah.
I guess, Marcus, the good thing about that is it was preseason, so even though we didn't play well, it didn't actually count. But we had a pretty good.
Yeah.
I think
And
'92 was a pretty
and it
good
was
year.
this
Well, we got
this
hurt. Yeah, that was the year we had all those injuries toward the end. I think we
uh,
missing playoffs. We went 9-7. Yeah, yeah. I remember playing over there, but I didn't remember that. But I'll take your word for it.
maybe
Wow,
you remember that you that you faced the Broncos, and this is
I
enough
do
to
remember that.
know.
I do remember the Broncos. Yeah.
And I think it was Dirk's first game that he watched, and he became a Dolphins fan because of this game. I
Oh,
think so.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Did
and
not know that. Okay.
I guess this was his trigger, becoming a Dolphins fan when he was in Berlin watching the game. And
Nice.
yeah, and for me, it was something like a highlight. I already been a fan, and I was amazed by the different way the Dolphins were playing football. you remember these times when the league was a run heavy Walter Payton
Mhm.
league. And then there were the Dolphins, and they played different. They played through the air. It was elegant. It was like a dolphin jumping, always through the air. It was intelligent. It was speedy. It was, and this caught me. And then going to Berlin really was a highlight, and seeing this passing offense in real time on the field.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that.
That's Dirk calling.
That's my wife computer. She got everything going through here. So phone call. Like, oh no. But
But Richmond,
yes.
so I do not know why you are doing this, and you do not have to explain. But I think it's really great that you're doing this podcast with Dan, and that you're connecting also with international fans, also especially outside the US, because I think there is a lot of potential to grow. And there are maybe the numbers of fans are at the moment still smaller, but it is developing, and the engagement for the teams is there. Every NFL game is a big party, and so I deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate that you spend your time doing things like that. That's, to me, it's fantastic.
Yeah, not this past weekend, but when we played the Chargers, that was actually a fan club weekend. So
Yep,
I met people from the UK,
yep,
Germany.
yep.
I don't think I met anybody from France that weekend, but all over the United States. And so that's what I enjoy, because you get the different stories. And I was just sharing with Dan before you came on how, being international, I already know soccer is the sport. So, or
Yep.
football, we say soccer, but it's
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
football. And so for that to be the main sport, and then for American football to start, people starting to follow and integrate, and that's becoming more popular, or people is gaining traction overseas. I think that's tremendous. And then you get to meet everybody from, like, Dan from France, you from Germany. I think the thing I'm really impressed with is y'all English is so good that
My.
I didn't know. I wouldn't even know you was from Germany, because I bet you could break me off some words and I'd be scratching my head. But I'm always how y'all speak more than one language and speak it well. So that's pretty impressive to me.
Thank you very much. Take it. You just when you were talking about the international fans, and that they usually come from soccer communities, and it's true, especially in Europe or in South America, it is all about soccer. However, these communities are growing, and I think it's because you can watch American football, as we call it, um, on so many different ways or different levels. You just can watch a game on television or in the
Yeah.
stadium, choose a team, and then you see if the team is moving forward or backward, and you can be excited about this. Or you can go the next step, know some players, maybe have a favorite team, um, looking for good plays. Or you go the next step and have in mind something like what could be the game plan. You are interested in advanced stats and checking the EPA per play data or things like that. So there are so many levels, and I think for everybody there's a level to like this game, and this is why we have to push football, and
Well,
especially the Dolphins.
oh yeah. Well, I appreciate it, and you're right, Marcus. I think the thing, I think it really becomes interesting because you first turn on American football and you be like, what is this? And then you start to figure it out, and you're like, okay, now offense, and it starts to come together. And then I think that's when it becomes real interesting. But until then, it's almost kind of like, well, I might watch a little bit, and and then you see people in the stands jumping up and yelling, and say, okay, maybe they did something good there. So it's
Yeah,
you're educating yourself, and then once you really educate yourself, understand the game, you're like, okay, I got it now. And then you're like,
yeah.
yeah,
And
I
I
do
think
like
the entrance is easy. You have this the moment when you realize it's not only a scrum.
yeah.
And if you're beyond this, then it's really easy to choose a side and to see what's happening, and you see the big plays and you see the excitement of the players, of the fans, and start getting excited as well. So the entry, I think, is easy to the game, because it's so entertaining and it's so athletic. And then you can add as much as you want. You can spend your whole life on
That's true.
learning things about football. So this is
Hey,
yeah.
Marcus, do they play rugby in Germany? I know in the UK that's
Yes, they do, but not very
okay.
well.
We're gonna move on to another subject then.
They're not very well doing rugby. So it's more in
We
the
already, we
UK
already,
and Ireland, also in France. I think France also has a very great rugby tradition. However,
hey,
they pronounce it like rugby or something like that.
yeah.
Dad, what
Hey,
are you doing?
hey, hey, Marcus, when you said not very well, I said let's move on. We got enough of not very well already with the Dolphins, so we don't want
Oh,
to open up a can of worms. We just,
true,
I said let's
true.
move on to something else. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
times are changing. When I was watching early times and also during your career, I think you made it to the playoffs 8 of 11 seasons, 8 out of 11,
we
and
did pretty
now
good. Yeah,
so you were part of a success story. And when
yeah.
we look back now for the last 10 or 11 years, we had 3 wildcard appearances. And I think at the moment we are all a little bit disappointed because before the season started,
Yeah.
uh, we did not expect that it went down like this. So,
Nobody saw this coming. I
no.
say that all the time. Nobody saw this coming, and I think that's the tough part that people kind of replaying it in their minds. Like, okay, what happened from last year to this year? I think, and they can't figure it out, and it's just been really, really bad.
So, do you have an idea? Because you were an offensive lineman, so you always played against these guys. These guys. So, before the season, we thought that especially our pass rush would be one of the strongest in the league.
Yep.
Having Chubb coming back, Phillips coming back, and um, signing Matthew Judon and having Chop Robinson. So we all thought that this group, that these guys would dominate the lines. But I think these are I would say, the biggest disappointment to me at the moment. Not the cornerbacks. We knew before the season that we do not have a cornerback room,
Yeah.
but especially the D line play. Do you have an idea why it happened and why we are not that dominant?
I don't. I agree with you. Great assessment. The pass rush I thought would kind of compensate for not having the cornerbacks that we
Yeah,
needed. So I agree with you there. But the other thing, as far as the defense, is the way teams have been able to run the football on us and run it effectively for several games. That's been mind-boggling to me. And
absolutely.
yeah, I think for everybody, because we were really good on defense last year. And
Yeah,
I said, even though we didn't have the cornerbacks, with the pass rush, Phillips, like you said, Judon, Chubb and Chop, I figured we could create enough pressure
yeah.
to, kind of compensate for that. But it hadn't been. It's just been, running the football. People have been able to do a lot what they wanted to us, and
Yeah.
that's been frustrating.
Yes, absolutely. So I think our secondary could be exploited even worse, but it is not hardly tested because every team could run the ball against us, and if they could run, they had no need to pass. So this was, yeah. And then yeah. However, let's stay positive,
We
So
trying, we trying, Marcus. We trying.
yeah,
So
and we as well. So this is, I think if you're a fan, you're a fan, and you stay with your team, and it doesn't matter if a season went the right direction or the wrong direction. There's always a next year, and it's still the same colors, and it's still the same organization. And
that's great perspective, and if people can grasp that, I think part of the problem is people are not patient, and then when you go through something like this, um, it's a test of are you a true fan or not. So you got to take the good with the bad, and that's what I try to encourage people. Is it fun going through seasons or a stint like this, no. But if you're a fan, you're gonna be a fan. It's okay to be upset. That's part of it, because typically that means people are competitive people and they truly care. If they didn't care, people wouldn't get upset. So I get that. We just, like you said, we got to keep hanging in there.
I have to leave this. It would be a pleasure if you could answer me one of the questions. When I entered the call here, I was telling you that I had in mind you were playing against these edge rusher monsters like Bruce Smith and so on. So when you look back into your career, so what was the guy you disliked most to play against?
That's a great question. I wouldn't say dislike. I would probably say the biggest challenge, or the guy that was probably the most difficult, was Bruce
It
Smith.
was.
And yeah, it was just, and people talk about, he's the all-time sack leader. I know he has over 200 sacks or whatever, but he was really good against the run, not just onside, but he didn't take plays off. And I think people talk about his pass rush abilities, but they don't talk about he was a complete player. He played every down, where you see a lot of defensive linemen. Some guys play against the run really well, and when it's a passing down, they come out. Or some guys are real good pass rushers. They come in on long distance, third and long, second and long. They'll bring those guys in because it's a higher probability that they're going to throw the football. But, he was a guy that was out there, all the snaps. A lot of times they would sometimes have him over me, or sometimes move him down over the center. So being able to play defensive end, that's kind of a nose guard position, to move around like that and be effective. And even at times they would drop him off. So that's what made him so tough. And he was the type of guy that if he did make that sack, it was normally for a turnover, or it would swing the whole momentum of the games. He was just that impactful in the game. And every time you played him, nobody had to remind you that was a guy, and you already know it's going to be a long day and he's not going to quit. So you had to have the mindset to try to match that as best you could. But yeah, that was the toughest guy, hands down, that I had to play against year in, year out.
That also means, I think, then if this guy was a 3-down guy, that you do not get a rest from him. You always have to play him. Always.
Ain't no question. The only time you're going to get rest is after the game. You're not going to get it. So, and that going in, and you respect it, but when you play against guys of that caliber, it really brings out the best in you, because you got to raise your level of play to try to match his intensity and stuff like that. So even though it was difficult and it was tough, I did look forward to playing against him, because you always want to see how you play against the best.
And merci Marcus, because Marcus, tu sais parler français.
Avec plaisir, mon cher.
Thank you, everybody. Put like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, always positive. Even if we lose, we have to stay positive. So fins up, everybody. Bye.